Mr. Squirrel was the first to experience the freedom I was chosen to bestow on others. He was sitting on the grass by my little home, stuffing his mouth with something. I watched him munching. He was watching me right back. "Hello, Mr. Squirrel. Are you happy?" He stopped munching and flicked his tail at me. The way he was staring at me, he didn't look happy at all. My mouth made a weird little chittery noise. He cocked his head. I made another chitter-chatter sound, and he crept a little closer. He did want me to help him. My hand reached out to him, and we sniffed it. Quick as a flash, I grabbed him. He struggled and tried to bite me. "Don't worry, you'll soon be free." My other hand reached behind me and found the drill. The heavy weight of the drill in one hand, the squirming squirrel in the other, was kind of hard to deal with. But somehow I got him so that his little head was pressed to the ground. I squeezed the trigger of the drill and smiled as I heard the whirring sound. I loved how it felt, the way it kind of jiggled my fingers. It's kind of cool to feel the bit hit the hard surface of the bone and then sink right in. I didn't do a very good job on Mr. Squirrel. His head was so tiny, the drill went right through into the ground. Got stuck, so I had to reverse it a bit to pull it out. Mr. Squirrel bled a lot and made weird screechy noises. I stared at him for a while. "Now you too are free." I left him there to think about it while I went inside to find something to eat. That's when I realized I had real power in my hand. I named the drill the Tool of Release. The next day when I looked for Mr. Squirrel, he was gone. So I felt I'd done a good job. "Kathy! God damn if I can ever sleep past dawn anymore without Mr. Loudmouth screeching at me." I sit up and stretch, and the hot, humid dankness of the day rolls across me in waves already. God, but does it stink in here. My little souvenir from Mr. Big Burly Guy has turned black and hard over the past while. I touch it and remember. Stay hidden. No more white room, no more ugly white dress. "Kathy, you have a busy day today," Loudmouth screams. "Why do you always have to yell at me?" I march outside to find the special tree where I take my morning pee. Lifting my raggy dress, I squat. There's a rustling in the tree above my head as Mr. Loudmouth lands on the branch above me, watching with those beady black eyes. "Why do you always have to watch me?" He just laughs. Today my pee isn't behaving very well. Dribbles down my leg and along my foot. I know then that today's going to be different. I stand up and rub at the pee on my leg and foot with the bottom of my dress. Every night I sleep in this dress to remind me of that place. The dress isn't white anymore. It's not even really a dress anymore. Just a big ripped up piece of rag. Mr. Loudmouth flaps down from the tree and sits on my head as I walk towards the lake. He slips his sharp little toenails into the holes in my head to hang on better. He's been doing this a lot lately. At first it really bugged me since those are my holes and I don't want anyone putting anything in there except me. But the way he clings and bounces when I walk feels kind of good. Sometimes he clutches a little too hard and I can feel his sharp little claws digging into my skin. That's okay. Sometimes when it hurts like that, I can think a bit better. We go down to the beach so that I can wash and get water to make some more Kool-Aid. The lake has a greenish color today, and lots of bottles and cans have washed up onto the rocks. Mr. Loudmouth pushes off my head and flies over to a big rock to watch. The freezing cold water laps around my ankles, leaving traces of black slimy stuff along my feet. up," Mr. Loudmouth yells. I just ignore him, waiting until the water's up to my waist, and then I swim. I could swim and swim forever, but I don't, 'cause Mr. Loudmouth is circling and screaming above me. Hurry up, hurry up! I try to ignore him, but it's so hard, so I get out. Now my dress is washed and I'm ready to face my day. I fill up my little jug with the greenish water, and Mr. Loudmouth goes back to his spot on my head, poking his little claws into my holes. It pinches and some stars explode in my eyes. Mr. Loudmouth says I don't have time to make my Kool-Aid or even change out of my sleeping dress. We have work to do today. I'm not too happy about that. My mouth is dry. I get the tool of release and put it in a plastic bag. But oh no, that's not good enough for Mr. Loudmouth. I have to put it in another plastic bag, and then another. But I do what he says, since he's pinching me extra hard with those claws today. Trying to boss me around, I guess. Someone's always trying to tell me what to do and where to go. Go sit there, he orders me after we walk a while. That's the spot I sat that day I saw that guy walking on the beach. Wonder where he is today. I think about his long hair and his nice jaw. Wonder what color his eyes are. Put your hands on that rock, Mr. Loudmouth says. I put my hands on the boulder in front of me. Look at them. I'm looking. What do you see? I stare at my hands. They look like my hands. Look like my fingers. They have lots of lines and gouges in them, so I know they're my hands. They aren't even trying to escape. I see my hands. Mr. Loudmouth flies onto the rock and stands behind my hands. Now look at my hands. You don't have hands. My feet then. Look at my feet. What do you see? I stare at his ugly bony feet with the long sharp nails. I see your feet. So what's the difference? I look at him shaking my head. You're a fucking bird. And you're not. Mr. Loudmouth lifts up one of his feet and curls and uncurls his toes. Your hands aren't as useful as they could be. Huh? Get out the tool of release. I shrug and start to unwrap all the damn bags around the drill. I lift it out. It glints nicely in the sun. If you tilt it back and forth, all the shiny bits sparkle like stars twinkling in the sky. Kathy, pay attention. He's prattling on at me, but I'm not listening to him. I see the point he's making as I stare at my hands. Yeah, they do have a lot of skin on them, don't they? And if my hands didn't have so much skin binding them together, then they could reach further. Suddenly, I feel like a duck or something, all webbed up with no freedom. I splay my fingers as far apart as I can, but I see the fleshy bits between the fingers are stopping them. If that fleshy stuff wasn't there, my fingers could reach even further. I press the trigger on the drill and hear that happy humming sound. Mr. Loudmouth is still nattering on at me, but I can't hear him over the sound of the drill anyways. I stop the drill and he stares at me with those mean, beady eyes. Putting my right hand on the rock, I splay it as far as it can go. The pointy drill bit rests on that fleshy part between my first finger and my thumb. I squeeze the trigger, and in seconds, the flesh is split and torn until it hits the bone. I stop. Blood pours out, almost hiding the work. I move my thumb, and though it stings, it can splay out further now. It doesn't take long to do the rest of my hand. The rock is slick with my blood. So pretty and shiny, glimmering in the sunlight, and still so very thirsty. A little puddle of blood is pooling in a crevice. It is so pretty, and I dip my finger into it. Salty and warm. I lean down and stick my tongue out as far as it can go. I lap the blood tasting the sandy, grainy bits from the beach mixed in. The rock is licked clean, but there isn't enough to quench my thirst. My hand still drips, so I suck on the part between the thumb and the first finger. The blood starts to slow, and soon it decides to stop falling out of me, even though I'm saving it anyways by putting it back inside of me. So I guess I have to get the other hand done too. This will be a little trickier, since this hand doesn't like to behave as well as the other hand. I put my left hand down on the rock and try to pick up the drill with my right hand. It's slippery and hard to hold, since I'm not used to how wide my fingers can go now. The pain is a sharp throbbing, like a stinging burn. Makes a little rhythm, and I start to sing along with it. The tool of release whirs as I slide through the annoying webs on my other hand. As the pointy part slips and slides along my skin, it reminds me that I have to stay hidden. No one is watching as far as I can tell. The blood slips from my bloody hands. I didn't do as good a job on the second hand, and my finger is kind of hanging funny. The veins are slipping out, trying to run away as they peek out into the sunlight. I push them back in, watching as the blood pulses through them and leaks out onto the rock again. Stop bleeding already. I lick up the blood as fast as it falls out. The blood wants to run away, but I can't let it because it's my blood, and if too much falls out, then I will fall down. I learned this once, long ago. Hurry up! Mr. Loudmouth yells at me. Now what? I'm tired. Shush! We have but begun. Begun what? Sharing your knowledge, of course. Bringing release to all who need it. Yeah. My hands look really cool, even if they are kind of bloody and all. They look like bird feet. Well, if you squint your eyes just right, they look like bird feet. Taking a plastic bag, I wrap it around the hand with the finger hanging funny. Seems so stupid to bind it all up again, but the blood just keeps going and we have to keep moving. I put the tool of release back into the other plastic bag and wrap another one around it. We walk along some more, watching the waves lick the beach. My mouth is all thirsty again. We come to the big huge building that I can see from my little home. The windows are all broken out and the bricks are all hanging funny. Man, does it stink around here. Go in, Mr. Loudmouth says. There are 7 stairs, but really there are 8 because one of the stairs is kind of 2 stairs because of how they're all crumbling and broken. 8 is a nice round number, like 2 circles on top of each other, or like glasses or a pair of boobs. Stop laughing, Mr. Loudmouth screams. I put my hands over my mouth to stop laughing, but the giggles fly from my lips. The plastic on my hand is rustling really loud, and it's annoying me. I can't even hear what Loudmouth is going on about now. The plastic crackles and crinkles makes my ear hurt. Goodbye, plastic! The plastic lands on the floor, and I can hear again. Well, not really now, because the plastic around the tool of release is starting to natter at me, and it's getting louder and louder. I rescue the tool of release from this stupid noise and hold it in my hand. It has a nice feel, a heavy tool in my cool new hands. There's a pile of old dirty rags. But no, it isn't a pile of old dirty rags at all. It's someone snoring. There's a sharp pointy thing lying on the ground, like Mr. Big Burly Guy used to use. Stupid needles. And a bag of medicine and some other stuff is right beside it. For a minute I'm afraid I'm suddenly back in the white room, but then I remember I'm not. I'm somewhere else. I'm on a mission, aren't I? A mission to help people be free. My head doesn't feel so good, so I sit down. Leaning against the wall, I get a good look at Mr. Raggy Guy. He's got long brown hair and a bit of beard. It's the guy I saw walking along the beach that day. He's very thin and he's sweating a bit. Actually, he's kind of twitching. His His cheek is really, really cold, and his hands open and shut. I lean against him for a bit and listen to him breathing. His face is so nice. I like his cheekbones and his jaw. He twitches again. Poor Mr. Raggy guy. I press my hand against his forehead and can feel the voices in his head swelling and rolling. Don't worry, Mr. Raggy guy. I'm gonna help you. I pick up my tool of release and place it against his forehead. As I squeeze the trigger, his eyes fly open. Boy, does he have the coolest eyes. They're brown with little flecks of golden green. They're like shooting stars. He screams and it startles me, rattling the holes in my head right down to my teeth. Mr. Raggy guy moves so fast, trying to sit up or something, and I fall forward just as the tool of release pushes through the bone. He stiffens and his hands reach up to grab at the tool. He kind of jerks around like he's dancing for a bit, and his hands fall back down to the ground. And he's still. My tool is stuck again. As I reverse the tool of release, I stare at Mr. Raggy guy's sweet face. His cool eyes are just kind of staring up at the ceiling, and some blood got into them. I wipe the blood away. His lips are full. They feel so nice against mine. I stroke his cheek. Mr. Raggy guy needs a hug. I wrap my arms around him and feel his thin body against me. It has been so long since I've touched another human. And I remember those nights that Mr. Big Burly guy wasn't that bad. Mr. Raggy guy has a lot of tattoos. He even has an earring in his nipple. It's cold in my mouth as my tongue plays with it. Mr. Raggy guy fills me up pretty good too, considering that I'm doing all the work. I pull his arms around me as I rub him against me, inside of me, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. His face really is so nice, but all that blood dripping down is ruining it. Tilting his head down, I lap away the salty blood, feeling him inside of me at the same time. I see the hole of release that I have made too deep. I peer inside, wondering if anything's going to come marching out. I push my finger into it. It's weird, sticking your finger into someone else's hole. I've only ever stuck my finger into mine. I feel all tingly doing that. And when I pull my finger out, it's full of blood and stuff. It tastes okay, so I push my tongue into that hole. I feel even more tingly, and I can't seem to get him to fill me up fast enough. I can taste him. I can feel him. I can feel the holes in my head whistling. I can feel between my legs such glorious rush that I have never felt. Hey, you! A loud, strange voice yells. No! I moan, clutching Mr. Raggy guy, pushing myself harder against him, in and out, wanting the feeling to never stop. I'm not listening! Hands pull at me, and I'm pried away from Mr. Raggy guy. I feel as if I'm going to die as the connection is broken. Two men in black are staring at me, black beady eyes glaring, black tools in their hands, but they aren't tools of release. No, sir. They're guns. Who knows what they're going on about? I just know that they put those shiny silver things around my hands. All I can hear is Mr. Loudmouth screaming at me at how I ruined everything, how I let myself be seen. He sits on my head with those awful talons pinching into me as the car flies down the street, screaming and screaming. Can you get this fucking bird off my head? I cry out at them. They look at each other. There's no bird on your head, lady. Yes, there is. This big black fucking bird, always telling me what to do. Relax, lady. There's nothing there. In my reflection in the glass, Mr. Loudmouth is still clutching on, glaring at me. No one listens to me. No one cares. You know, Mr. Raggy guy hadn't have freaked out like that. He'd be fine. And we could have hung out for a bit. And then, well, but no. Try to bring a little bit of help into the world. All turns to shit. Hi, I'm Sèphera Girón, and that was part 2 of No One Listens, a short story written by myself, Sèphera Girón. Thank you for listening.